Let's build a business based on H2H, not B2B, but human-to-human sales and marketing automation. A human approach is the only one that sells.
And welcome to the H2H Sales Automation Podcast on Is Sales the Hardest Job in Tech Today? Hello, welcome everyone. And it's a pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Adrian Chiriac. Sales team lead and principal account executive L4 DACH and CE at HubSpot. Quite a big job description. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Bart. Appreciate it.
Guys, I invited Adrian for different reasons. Number one, we do work together at HubSpot ecosystem. That's yes. But number two, Adrian wrote interesting post some time ago. Is sales the hardest job in the tech today? And I really like the idea of discussion about a sales and sales role. And everything is an AI. Everything thinks that AI will sell for us. Where is the truth? Adrian, I review your resume on LinkedIn. Can you reflect on your journey a little bit? How you became the salesman? I think you've started working with someone else ages ago as a sales in other business. You moved to HubSpot. Have you became salesperson by default, or what is your story?
It actually goes back way beyond LinkedIn. After I graduated from university, I started a wine shop in my local town.
I didn't know that. Brilliant.
Yeah, so that was actually, I was wearing all the hats, including sales, and I had to, build the relationship with the local restaurants and event makers, and those relationships were the one that brought the most customers in. So that dates back now many years ago, probably 13 or 14 years ago, and it was quite an interesting journey from there.
It was some time ago, so obviously fast forward, how you see your job as a salesperson changed, not necessarily talking about the tech as a general. What is your reflection on that journey?
So you take things with you from the previous experiences. So because I did the sales that wasn't tech, but then I got into tech, you still get to take a lot of the learnings, for example, the relationship building, and things like that. But of course, then there's other learnings and you need to really adapt. And tech is definitely a different beast to handle than, face-to-face sales of products, which is just transactional. So yes, I was at some point offered a BDR role in a tech company in Romania, and I jumped on that train. And I really struggled at the beginning because everything was new to me, and I was handling a large volume of incoming leads on chat, on email, calling. And then eventually, after doing a good job, I was offered a role in the sales department as an account executive, and I said yes without looking back. And then a completely different story started, and I was receiving a lot of feedback, and it started really becoming a passion, discussing with these big customers and trying to find ways to solve their problems while hitting my numbers. It was very interesting. And 5 years and something into that, and then I got the role into HubSpot.
I always try to. I'm old fashioned. While we record this this interview, I use my classic Scrabble. I like to make a notes, solving the problems versus hitting the targets. This is brilliant. This is probably one of the most challenges. We try to solve the problem, but we need to go and get the numbers right. I'd like to ask the questions because this is interesting. You said about Romania, you're Romanian origin. We had a number of conversations, and then, hey ho, you're in Malaga. Would you say that tech work enable you to travel and be whatever you like? Is that one of the best thing in tech now that you can be remote?
Yes, it's definitely a huge advantage. I wouldn't say anywhere in the world. You still have to be based. You have to be based in a country where you have a legal entity that you can have a contract.
Yeah.
So, in case of HubSpot, we have Netherlands, Spain, Germany, Ireland, France, Belgium. So, quite a few options there in Europe. Um, for other companies, of course, other countries, but yeah, this is definitely a major plus. And I do work remotely, even though I'm based in Spain, which enables me to, be closer to school, being able to pick up my
Yeah.
son, and it's just much more convenient for me. Although sometimes I miss maybe being in an office or having that closer relationship with colleagues. It comes with some drawbacks, but definitely it is a big advantage of working in tech.
It is definitely probably another podcast topic that we definitely need to cover. Moving forward into your interesting conversation you started on LinkedIn, and definitely we're gonna link that up on any device that you're gonna watch. Let me just read quickly. You wrote something like, sales reps are expected to handle a rejection daily, find solutions to problems customer didn't know they had. This is a massive one. His targets and quota without sacrificing quality. Another challenge. Lots of different deals, ensuring no one actually won't forget about something. Loads of work. How would you say, do you remember your first rejections? This is your personal story, like first ever rejection as a salesman.
Yeah. So in the previous company that I worked for, I was doing calling, and I was also covering the United States area where I was calling healthcare companies. And I remember some people were picking up the phone and didn't really want to talk, and I got pretty brushed off. And I got a message like, please don't use this phone number again. I'm not interested. I don't care. And then they just shut me down and closed the phone. So that got stuck with me for a while. For about 4 days, and then I called back, of course. And people, they answer the phone. They might be stressed in traffic. They might have their personal problems. They might have their work challenges. So
Exactly that. Brilliant.
it's never something personal. These people usually don't even remember they spoke with you. So I just dialed again and I explained why I'm calling. And then it just so happened that was a closed one deal. So this is a story that I really like, because after that rejection, they actually became customers few months later. So it took a while, but it worked well. So of course, sometimes rejection, you just have to understand that some people aren't just a fit for your product,
Yeah.
or it's not the right time for them, and that's okay. But in some cases, it's just not the right moment of the day, or it's just not the right moment of the week, or in their quarter. It doesn't fit into what they're doing and what their priorities are. But it doesn't mean that it's a dead company for you. It might be that there's a very good potential to collaborate in the future. So never close the doors because you got, rejection on a call, and never let the emotions get to you. I
Yeah.
think that's a big one in sales.
Yes, I think research, isn't it? It's just getting to know the person, the people, the ecosystem. I always give example of dating. You go on a mission to find someone nice, to have a conversation. You go to party, and then you've got a room of different, people. How to start, and you've got many rejections. And I know you're happy father and husband, and you've got your family, and you know what it takes to get there. It is you're reflecting on that kind of journey, that a little bit of cold calling in regards of would you share that phone number with me? And that rejection is like, maybe not today, but it's tomorrow is next day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So AI, it's coming into the place, because we're talking about you handle rejection is one thing, but finding the problems, looking at the data, basically about the people that you want to talk. And sales is the hardest job in tech today. When are we not using AI, or are we using AI? Is it hardest job to use AI and helping you to get your quota within sales, or what is your take on AI?
I would say that AI is really transformative for a company if it's used properly, or it can be damaging if you're not using it properly. But it's very easy to use it properly. And what I mean by that is it can make your sales reps, if we're talking about sales, much more efficient. So something that a sales rep would be able to do in a day 5 years ago and what they're able to do in a day today is massively, massively different. And 5 years from now, this will not even be a debate. Do you need AI or you don't need AI? AI is just going to be like social media. You have a company, you have to be on social media. You have a company, you have to implement AI. Or, you know who else will implement it? Your competitors will.
Yep.
And that's going to hurt you because your reps will grind 3 times as much and be much, much less efficient. And so you want to equip your team with the right tools to make their job easier and have more meaningful conversations, doing less admin, doing less tasks, doing less than activities that aren't bringing revenue in. So I think AI plays a huge role in that, and it will play a more and more important role.
And I think we are at the beginning of the journey. We still kind of figure out, with ChatGPT, with lots of like Copilot, HubSpot is really pivoting everything and is more AI tool really than anything else. The question is and it kind of leads to the main topic of the discussions about the human part. So what parts of sales process are you automating and getting AI effect, and what part of the process should be human led? How you approach this?
So I can give you a nice example. I've been away for a month now on paternity leave, and I'm coming back to conversations that weren't held by me, but by the rep who was filling out the role for me. And imagine you have massive email threads and you don't want to spend all the day just reading through them. And so then you have a quick summary done by the AI, and then you just read 30 seconds and you know what that conversation is about, either on the deal or on the contact record. So this already, it doesn't make a big difference if you're talking about 2-3 customers, but when you're talking about 20 or 30, good luck, reading a whole story about each customer. So I think using AI internally to, filter out companies, to have summaries, to get better insights, to enrich your data, things that are not yet customer facing, and I'll get into that as well, but just things that make it much easier for you to do your daily job without doing so much clicking. Because now, without these tools, you would have to do a lot of clicking. You have to apply a lot of filters just to get to the bottom of a list that you want to put together. But now it's just a prompt. You just go to the Copilot, you give it a prompt, and it does everything for you. So putting all this together, it saves hours and hours and hours. When it comes to the customer-facing use of AI, you might want to refine your text. I remember when I was doing enterprise sales, when I had to send out a super important email to a company that had 30,000 employees, and it was very important for them to digest that email well. I was reading it, and I'm not exaggerating. Sometimes I was reading it up to 10 times, and I was still modifying it here and there. And of course, you can still do that, but at least the grammar part and the way you sentence things, those can be already perfected by AI. It's still your message. It's still personalized. You still get your message across, but you don't spend time fine-tuning it. So that's one of the areas where I think AI is definitely a massive help.
So where is the human
part? Just one example.
When is the human part?
By human part, you mean what exactly?
So by human part, AI is helping us to get the message out and be more productive, save time. So the example of that is, yes, research, as you say, but what part of sales process should human-led, completely human-led, conversations, phone calls. Where is the human pit? AI and human. So what part of this process should led by humans?
I think that all interactions with the customers should be human. So even if you fine-tune a message, you should not rely on AI to create that message for you if you're talking about emails. And then, of course, phone calls and meetings, there is where you are human 100%, and you use AI just for insights. So you have a more meaningful conversation. So today you can spend, let's say, 5 minutes instead of an hour researching a prospect and its company because of the AI tools, and then the conversation can be more meaningful and more human. You can relate to a lot of things that are happening in their life and in their business much easier. So actually AI helps you a lot with the interaction because of the insights you can have prior to a meeting.
Yes, it is, I think, new kind of skills needed. I don't know if you agree, but many businesses know how to now use AI for content generation, but now analyzing the prompts data and how to convert this information into meaningful connections. One of our top clients, we are one of the HubSpot partners. Obviously, they say, yeah, our top salespeople don't need any fancy tools because they know how to use some of the techniques to build a relationship. So now the future of that is to help get that insights and understand that insights, how this can be converted into human-led conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. The risk there is if you're not using AI to make your life easier and to have more data, then your competitors will.
So talking about the tech to get to align, and what do you see as a how would you approach, because the topic is sales the hardest job in the tech today? What is your take on that in terms of AI adoption, but generally what is the top challenge for the tech sales in tech?
Well, I think that hitting your numbers is quite difficult to begin with. So statistically, I hope I'm quoting the right one, around 35% of sales rep are hitting their quota. That's a extreme low number, worldwide speaking in tech. So I think that there are things that are related to technology and things that are related just to implementing the feedback that you're getting, being coachable, learning how to be a better active listener, and other aspects of it as well. So it's a really good combination of right tools, right mindset, and right coaching and training, and then it comes down to practice and reflection and all the other things all over again. So for me, feedback played a massive role. So I was always seeking feedback. I was trying to implement all the advice that I was getting. I was always reflecting on my performance, on my calls, on what I can do to improve, what I can do to improve my communication, my relationship building, my process, and that overall, with these micro improvements, at some point you'll nail it.
Feedback is massive one. I think that you're completely right. I agree, Adrian, with you, and that is something that we always. It all depends on. We might have a debate with other salespeople, but asking and every time improving. It's a massive, especially within the mid-market plus, where we have different shareholders, different types of personalities involved in that conversations, and there is always little things, maybe different keywords, maybe different way we express things will help us to drive things forward. Maybe even AI will help us to get that kind of that kind of filler. What is the probability? I actually really like the Fathom option. When you speak, it will just pop up the window. If you speak more than 30%, it will say, okay, man, you are speaking too much. By the end of the day, sales is about listening, not talking. And that reminder is just helped me personally close few of interesting deals, not overwhelm prospect. and that is one of the way we use AI. So in your day-to-day job at HubSpot, as a salesperson, any kind of go-to strategy to, sales complex deals, any tips, anything that works for you, maybe you can share with our listeners.
Of course. So when we have a complex deal, meaning multiple stakeholders involved, each stakeholder being interested in a different area, I use a document which is a joint evaluation plan, and you can rename it the way you want to, but essentially it puts down all the steps. You work backwards from implementation, and you put down all the steps that need to happen before the kickoff date. So all that has to be addressed regarding security or pricing or demos or Q&As. So that is basically your go-to document to make sure that every stakeholder ticks all their boxes so that everyone is happy before the date that they want to get started. So it's not a date that I'm just putting in there. I'm not placing a deadline. I'm just asking, when do you actually need to have this in place? And I work backwards from that timeline to make sure that everything else that needs to happen happens.
This is brilliant. I love joint re-evaluation plan. Fantastic. Like everyone else, like, whatever you want to call it. Do you have any format that you keep that document, or is just whatever text format?
I have it in Excel. You can use whatever format. It's just a matter of structure. And then the document is shared with all the stakeholders, so they can actually see the progress and where we are. So they can keep themselves accountable as well, because maybe at some point they need to do something internally as part of that document. For example, having a meeting, debriefing XYZ. So it keeps them also accountable that on that date or within the time range, they have to complete that step in order for us to still be on track to kick everything off at a certain point.
No, love it. Love the idea. I think that is knowledge of every single business, but having some kind of document that will keep accountable and dates. I really love it, and I think within HubSpot ecosystem, the dates is massive in terms of like when and how what should happen. Some prospects maybe doesn't have a date, but having a little bit of date or in mind will help to go backwards. I really like this idea. Thanks for sharing. We're hitting nearly 20 minutes of the conversation. I've got a couple of notes that will make summary, but one of the final note I always ask my listeners to ask the question, how do you sell while still remaining a human touch? What would be your best tip on that? Adrian, I'm wondering.
Yeah, so for me, I'm trying to really adapt to the person that I'm speaking to. People are very different. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can relate to, if I can look through their business lens, if I can walk in their shoes, feel their problems or their goals. And that, I think, already adapts your communication style to them, and that really makes it pretty much human. So as long as you can understand them and get a sense of where they're coming from and what they want to accomplish and what are some of their challenges and what are their worries, and you are authentic and not just trying to, fakely active listening to them, and just, if you just summarize what they said, it doesn't mean that you're actively listening. Yeah, it means you are paying attention, but do you actually deeply understand what they want and why they're here and why they're talking to you?
Being empathetic.
Exactly.
This is great part. I think on empathy and my little story to chuck in is to apparently it was a time I live in the UK. There was no much petrol in the petrol stations. That was some kind of problems with delivery truck, no truck mans and so on. So on the back of that, I've built that kind of idea for like outreaching to people to ask the questions. Did you get to make your job? Is your car car full of petrol. That was pre electric cars, and that opened lots of conversations that turned to the business. It's just finding that empathy, what is actually happening around your local area, around where you are, that will keep people bond, and empathy in regards of like the problems. Really, we all have the problems. So I completely agree with that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a great example that you're sharing as well. I think, yeah, of course, being empathetic is first of all human. So it shouldn't just happen in the sales environment. It should happen in all contexts of life. So I think that also active listening and everything that you're trying to do in sales, you do it pretty much everywhere else. So it should already feel natural. It shouldn't be like, now I'm putting on my sales mask, I'm Adrian when I close this conversation. I'm Adrian on this conversation. I'm Adrian when I go to the market. I'm Adrian when I have to help someone in a completely different setting. And yeah, I think I don't really believe in this, I don't know, putting on, forcing yourself to put on a smile or not really being authentic. Because, it pretty much goes onto the other side of the screen and the people will feel it. And it will hurt the relationship and the conversation. If you're really having a very bad day because of something that happens outside your control, and you think that you won't have a pleasant conversation because you are very much in a very bad situation, just reschedule the call.
Exactly.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, completely agree. Adrian, we hit 20 minutes. Thank you very much. It's fantastic. We definitely link up to that conversation on LinkedIn. Let's have a debate. We encourage everyone to share their opinion. By all means, this is all about building relationships using technology. And Adrian, honestly, thank you very much for our great conversation. My big take is, solve problems versus hitting targets. Reflect on that feedback. You did mention about the feedback and asking where you failed, what you can improve, and the way you express using AI to get insights, ideally using some kind of place such as HubSpot. We are obviously promoting HubSpot, but if you fancy to use any other systems, that's your choice. And then a joint re-evaluation plan. Build a plan of accountability with your clients. And finally, get empathic. Like if you don't feel it for the conversation now, reschedule. Empathy is a big thing and is missing in the industry, including tech. And I think that is my quick summary of our conversation. Adrian, thank you very much for a lovely interview.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Let's build a business based on H2H, not B2B, but human-to-human sales and marketing automation. A human approach is the only one that sells.